of a best of. Isn't that right? Did you do that on Friday?
Yeah, oh yeah.
A best of on Friday. And so it's been a minute. We haven't been in here since we had our Christmas party. We've got another one that we'll have here in studio. But our Christmas party at Spring Street Cigars in Jackson was a ton of fun inside the building where the Rogue Men's store is, right? Okay.
Yeah,
where you
place.
can get those cool Martin Dingman shoes, Wolf and Shepherd shoes, or Peter Millar hoodie or vest. The Rogue Men's store in Jackson, Spring Street Cigars in Jackson's now in that building. We had a great time. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Jackson even brought his dad.
Yeah.
Who we may even make him into a celebrity.
I mean, he
not at the level of like Jermaine Benoit.
He is,
or one of our chefs like Jeff Jones. But there is a level there to be had.
And no, he always
is that fair?
I mean, yeah, he always taught me though. You live life like your celebrity, and you live every day like it's a holiday.
Right.
So that's what we're gonna do. He's a celebrity already in his own mind.
Is he?
Oh man. Well, you go to Clinton now. You're gonna be hard pressed to find somebody that doesn't know him. You go to South Jackson, same deal.
Okay.
He's
Well, I want you to remember this, and we'll talk about that more a little bit later. I want you to remember this.
Guess what? Texas still sucks.
Thankfully.
I do not understand why 2 G5 teams are in the college football playoff. That makes no sense. We should have Notre Dame and Vanderbilt, or Notre Dame and BYU. And that would make, Notre Dame at Ole Miss, or Vanderbilt at Oregon, or vice versa.
Dope.
Vanderbilt at Ole Miss or Notre Dame at Oregon. That's what we need to do. G5 needs to have a 4-team playoff. Would be epic and awesome. You start right into the semifinals. Boom.
Oh.
Winners, championship. People would bet on it, still embrace it and consume it. But we got to figure out a better model. Having said that, congratulations to the Ole Miss Rebels.
Sure.
For hosting a college football playoff game on December 20th against the Tulane Green Wave and John Summerall, who, once they're eliminated, will be heading to the University of Florida to be the Florida Gators coach. Look at the staff he's putting together. Oh, my gosh. It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
His coordinators, when you look at Faulkner and Brad White, will be in the top 10% in the country. So, and I did think it was interesting what Kirby Smart said about the Florida roster, and that they have dudes and they're physical. They just had to kind of find their way, and I'm confident that they will. All right, we got to talk Zach Arnett and Ole Miss hosting the college football playoff game. They beat Tulane 45-10 in September.
Yeah,
they'll host December 20th mid-afternoon game, and there'll be a triple header that day. The night before, Bama at Oklahoma. So Notre Dame was left out. Then they declined to go to a bowl game. So did Kansas State, Iowa State, Baylor, and some others. Mississippi State lands in the Duke Mayo Bowl, which y'all know how much I love mayonnaise, right? We're in a no mayonnaise zone on the show. And so Mississippi State will play in Charlotte, North Carolina on January 2nd against Wake Forest. I think it's a great opportunity for Jeff Lebby.
Sure.
Rally the team, rally the calls, make the most of it. Don't give a damn what anybody else says about it. Other teams got breaks because of this, and this the last few years. You've been through unfiltered hell since Mike Leach passed away after winning 9 games. So if you're going to do the bowl game, which you obviously accepted, embrace it. Do everything you can for your program to get better, your players to get better, and it gives Kamario Taylor and Jeff Lebby 15 more practices together. And it probably gives Arnett an opportunity to kind of even do more things as far as who does he want it. Zach Arnett, the new defensive coordinator at Mississippi State, who does he want to retain? What does he need to do? Where does he need to go in the portal? Things like that. This is NFL-style stuff. I think you should approach it like that. But you're just like any other team that's playing in the postseason in that you do get your 15 practices. So hopefully you'll do something with them, leverage them, parlay it. Jeff Lebby just upgraded his defensive coordinator position. This could give him an opportunity to make some hay with Kamario Taylor and Zach Arnett in 2026.
Most important parts of the practices, though, right?
I think it's a combination of players being in the building more,
Sure, yeah.
weightlifting sessions, film sessions, practice, chemistry, camaraderie, and all that.
Cool.
So, the SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Competitive rates powered by Farm Bureau Insurance. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Somebody asked about Pete Golding's contract. I'd like to see how it is structured. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I want to see what they, how much risk they took and didn't take with what they had to do. They were in a rock and a hard. It's different, but there's some overlap. Mississippi State was in a very tough place when Mike Leach passed away. They felt like they needed to name a coach in, I think it was 48 hours, because that was kind of the first time that people were going to come in and totally poach and raid your roster.
Yeah.
And they did that. Ole Miss, on the other hand, wanted to show the College Football Playoff Committee that they had a permanent head coach, and they wanted to retain as many players as they could, knowing that Pete Golding had definitely strong ties, bonds, and relationships with the defensive players.
Right.
And then they knew that they had to get ready for a college football playoff game, which they do on December 20th.
Well, scrimmage.
Against the Tulane Green Wave, which they beat 45-10 in the month of September. So that's where we are. I'd like to see Pete Golding's contract.
Yeah.
I want to see, what does it look like? And again, how committed is Ole Miss to this? I mean, I know they're committed right now.
Well, yeah.
Because they want to go rip off a bunch of wins.
Right.
And then once Charlie Weiss Jr. goes back to LSU for $2 million a year, 3-year deal, $6 million total. Once Charlie Weiss Jr. goes back to LSU, who is Pete Golding going to hire as offensive coordinator?
Got to be a good hire. That's what you got to nail. I mean, if he is going to be coaching next year, right? Because I don't know.
Well, again, I want to see the Pete Golding contract. How is it structured? How many years? How much money? What's the buyout? Are we dipping our toe in this thing, or are we diving in head deep into the pool and we're getting everything? What are we doing here? We talk about it all the time. Are you flirting at the bar? Or are you going home and clothes are hitting the floor? There's a big difference. What are we doing? Right? Some people decide they're going to start working out. They work out twice, they're out. Then some people go in and they work out for 6 months straight, 4 days a week. Okay? Right? Some people say, "Hey, I'm going to adjust my diet. I'm not going to go, instead of going to fast food 12 times a week, I'm only going to go 10."
Right. Hey, man.
So what are we doing?
Progress is progress.
Okay, fair enough. So how does this thing look? How many years? How much money?
Whew.
What's the commitment? What's the buyout? I want to know.
Is there a way that, when you
Yes, it can be found. It will be released at some point.
It has to be, right? It's
Yeah.
public. It's public, right? So
You can run a lot of this through the foundation,
Sure.
but some of it will get out.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So again, the big stories today. Ole Miss is hosting a college football playoff game. Big money for Oxford and Ole Miss.
Great.
They're hosting Tulane.
Yeah.
The first game is December 19th, Alabama at Oklahoma. And then the next day on December 20th, Ole Miss is part of a triple header. And Ole Miss will be the mid-afternoon game at Vaught-Hemingway. And this line,
It could creep.
who knows where this thing will go.
It could creep up.
How many people got in on that 16.5 early?
Great. Smart.
You like
Yeah,
that?
it's about to get hammered. I don't know. That might be a public bet, though, because, the public's going to smash that. They're going to see SEC playing G5.
Okay.
You don't think Summerall can pull the upset here?
I do not. I don't know why Tulane and James Madison are in the
I just
college
thought
football
that
play. And
doesn't
I
make
give them salute
Oh, yeah.
to both their coaches. They should be in the Final Four
Oh.
of a G5 playoff
Be great.
and have a chance to win a national championship in the G5
Should.
in a Final Four
That make it-
in New Orleans or Atlanta, or play both games same day, boom, and play, the championship game a week later.
Instead, they'll lose by a combined 45,
Right,
if not more.
right. Good Lord, Oregon
What
minus
is it?
20 and a half.
I told you I thought it'd be 25, 20 and a half.
Well, it may get there.
Yeah, it's
We got a long
That one
time.
will get there. You can go ahead and take that teaser right now.
Bo, who got the buys? Texas Tech, Indiana, Georgia, and Ohio State. So they don't
Marvelous.
play for a long after Georgia just ran
Is it?
Alabama out of Atlanta, Georgia,
Yeah.
and another physical ball game, which is kind of like you're sitting there thinking, how does that work for you? Well, Ohio State just had a physical game. Indiana had a physical game. Texas Tech beat the snot out of BYU.
Yeah.
Now you're off for weeks and weeks and weeks.
3.5.
So that works
Wow.
out better for, getting a bye.
Wow, that's a long time.
Texas Tech, Indiana, Ohio State, and Georgia. When Ole Miss beats Tulane, they'll play Georgia in New Orleans.
In New Orleans.
And what is slotted as kind of the Sugar Bowl playoff game. Okay? So there you go. What do you think?
It's a, I don't know how in the world they got Tulane in. It's going to bother me for a while. Vandy should have been there. A Vandy Ole Miss game would have been phenomenal.
It's January 1.
Jan 1, yeah.
Ole Miss will play Georgia in the Caesars Superdome
Right.
on a Thursday night. Probably want to go ahead and get your rooms for that. They'll only be $600 to $2,000 a night.
No doubt.
Knowing what they were for the Super Bowl the week I was there on Wednesday and Thursday night, and I was able to avoid those, man, it's going to be expensive, but you're going to have fun.
Right.
Do we have the Pete Golding?
We do.
All right. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau insurance agent. Bo, do you think that Zach Arnett is an upgrade? Hell yes, I do. I mean, now I get the argument. I see the text on the text line that anybody would have been an upgrade. But Zach Arnett is capable of managing and coaching and scheming, all of that, a defense in the SEC. It's a good hire by Levy. I mean, I'm confident they put feelers out to the Muschamps and Jeff Collins of the world. Obviously, Brent Pry decided to stay at Virginia. Isn't that wild? Brent Pry was fired by Georgia Tech 3 weeks in the season. Now he'll be their defensive coordinator next year. Zach Arnett was the defensive coordinator for 3 years at Mississippi State, interim head coach for 1 year. Now he's back as a defensive coordinator. College football is wild. It really is. Lane Kiffin was just the head coach at Ole Miss. They had their greatest year in the history of their program. He's not even going to coach them in the college football playoff. He's the head football coach at LSU. Pete Golding is now the quote-unquote permanent head coach at Ole Miss. Isn't this just bizarro world, what I just went through with Kiffin, Golding, Zach Arnett, and Brent Pry? And Indiana, of all schools, won the Big Ten championship and punched Ohio State in the mouth and out-physicaled Ohio State in the trenches and made a couple of explosive plays from Fernando Mendoza, which you usually don't do that on Ohio State. You don't throw the ball down the field against their future first, second, or third round pick at corner or safety. You know, they have guys that look like strong safeties, but they can play DB and they're faster than your corners. And yet Fernando Mendoza, when that's the quarterback for our listeners at Indiana, when he had to make a play and drop it in the bucket, Indiana was able to go get explosive plays when they had to move the chains. And you felt like Ohio State was going to do what Ohio State and Bama and other teams have done over the years, where they may be down the whole game, but you know they're going to come back with 2, 4, 6 minutes left to go in the game. Unbelievable story. All right, Indiana's an amazing story. I hate that Vanderbilt was left out because watching Diego Pavia in the college football playoff would have been fun. Ole Miss is a wild story because they had their best year ever. Lane's in Baton Rouge, and Pete Golding is the head coach.
For now.
But you still got Trinidad. I mean, you're light years better. You pulled the
best.
I mean, the cake of the cake.
I mean, come on.
In playing Tulane. And then the other big story is Zach Arnett, defensive coordinator at Mississippi State. Look, Zach understands it. Like, people that beat up on Arnett, I thought, if you've listened to the show, you know I never bought into that.
Yeah, I mean,
he was, look, that was a dip your toe in that. You either got to hire somebody and be 100% behind it or not.
Yeah.
And only Mike Leach could win with the quarterbacks that he won with. And so, he was behind that 8 ball from the start, although he did still beat Illinois and Arizona and Arkansas in a short period of time as the head coach. But he'll be an asset for Lebby, and Lebby will be an asset for him. You got to get back to some toughness and physicality on the defensive side of the football. Do we have Pete Golding taking over as the head coach? This is the new head. This is weird to say. This is the new head football coach at Ole Miss.
It's about getting hot at the right time, and can our guys edit their behavior and be able to focus on the right things and prepare the right way and want to keep on playing. And I truly believe that, in the playoff run, it's the team that wants to continue to play by preparing the right way and practicing the right way to be able to play our best game. So I think we're in a good space.
All right, no pressure or anything, Pete, but the last time I remember a guy taking over as a permanent head coach was Steve Fisher at Michigan. They just won the national championship. So other than that, good luck. So, thanks for being with us,
That's
man.
right. Put your money on it.
All right.
All right. Don't you just love Reese Davis? Don't you?
I really cannot stand that guy.
You just love him.
Okay, I really
How much
despise him.
starch can you put in a shirt? I mean, that guy makes people in 1981 that were carrying a briefcase into the law firm or the bank blush at how much starch he has in his pants and his shirt.
Reminds me of a stick of glue.
A stick of glue?
Yeah, like a glue stick.
Oh.
You ever seen a glue? You remember what a glue stick looks like from when you were a kid?
I thought you
twist up out of the
had
tube.
another Freudian slip like I just did.
Nah.
And you were talking about a stick of gum.
No. A stick of glue.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, very, very, very just blah.
Okay.
Nothing there for me.
Nothing there for you.
I can't stand that guy.
Man.
What did he do? What has he ever done?
Well,
why is he where he's at?
no, he's good at what he does.
Oh, no. I'm not saying. I'm not questioning that.
I mean, some of that's been
he is good at what he does.
not phased out, but
How did he land out there?
well, I mean, he started with them 30 years ago.
So he was one of those.
I mean, he's called it all. He's called low level college football and low level basketball and all sorts of things. It's just now he hosts game day for football and does some other hits, and then they do the game day for basketball. He and Billis, right? And
Dang, oh, he has.
Yeah,
he's grinded out. So he wasn't. He never had like a playing career, and they didn't hand him a job.
No,
Well, good for him.
no. He's not Des Howard or David Pollack.
Yeah.
We're live in the Bank Plus studio. I've got some other. Oh my gosh, the John Calipari. Do we have time? No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I want to save it for 8 o'clock because it's really, really good. What'd you think about Pete Golding there?
I'm distracted by his hair.
That guy's got some. He's got to do.
It's I don't know what's going on there.
Definitely got that frat guy hair going.
It's I've just we talked about it last week. He is so many people on that campus.
Yeah,
he is so many.
Yeah,
it is absurd. I kind of like him. I don't think he's going to be there very long.
I think he's very likable.
He is very likable.
No question.
He's a Mississippi. Well, he's a
Louisiana
boy.
Mississippi boy.
But he's a Delta guy.
Yeah, so he's a Louisiana Delta State guy.
Yeah, so he can go. I mean, he's qualified.
He can. Yeah, he can do gumbo,
right?
Or he can do a pulled pork sandwich on the back of the pickup truck with an ice cold Bud Light.
And I don't know though. The hair's I mean, I'll find you a picture. It's tough. It's reminiscent of Justin Timberlake's curly little macaroni hair. But other than that, I mean, what else is he going to say?
I want to see his contract.
I got to see it. Because, like, is it 3 weeks?
Somebody send it to us. 601
Somebody's got it.
885 3776. 601 885 3776. That's the Golden Moon Casino Vegas style sportsbook. Text line.
Are they holding it hostage?
Dang, this lady said that she already got rooms at the Hyatt Regency next to the Superdome for only $368 a night. Wow. She was like, go ahead and make your reservations now. I guess so. Okay. Hey, the show is brought to you by Southern Ag Credit. Financing life outside the city limits. Speaking of the Mississippi Delta, Southern Ag Credit. Financing life outside the city limits. SouthernAgCredit.com. They've got their office in Ridgeland. We'll tell you about the guest list, and we've got some super audio on the other side from John Calipari and Kirby Smart.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Alan Warner.
Live in the studio.
It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show. If you love an amazing steak, ribeye filet, or New York strip, KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. Kessler Prime in the Renaissance. We're 105.9 The Zone ESPN. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. And
Ooh, baby.
Will Hall is the new head football coach for the Tulane Green Wave. So that worked out for Will Hall. Southern Miss was a struggle. We know that Will's a good coach. He won at West Alabama and West Georgia, which is not easy to do. I bet he cut the field, lined the grass, the whole thing at programs like that, washed clothes. But he ended up at Southern Miss, couldn't quite get it lined up. Tulane is losing John Summerall, as y'all know, once they're eliminated by Ole Miss in the college football playoff. He's already the University of Florida head coach, but he will be full-time into that. And Will Hall has been promoted to head coach for the Tulane Green Wave. And then Charles Huff is the new head coach for Memphis. And, of course, they've got a pretty good budget.
Yeah.
And, hell, Memphis was paying an offensive lineman $400,000 this past year. It kind of tells you the difference. You know, Huff did a lot with the budget that he had at Southern Miss. And I know they fell apart at the end, but he still went from 1 win to 7 wins.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming Southern Miss is going to promote Blake Anderson, but they may not. I know there was some Hugh Freeze rumors, and I don't know if Derek Nix is going back to Ole Miss or because he was there forever, or if he would take that, or if they would hire him at Southern Miss. So
Freeze would have been
I'd hire. I almost think, even though Freeze has this unbelievable on the field track record outside of Auburn,
right.
I almost wonder if if Derek Nix would be the better hire over Hugh Freeze, even though Derek's never done it.
Nix then hires Freeze as OC.
So we'll see. But anyway, Blake Anderson's been there. He's got a lot of coaching experience. He's a good coach. We'll see if they promote from within. And Huff is now at Memphis with a much bigger budget. I hate it for Southern Miss, but it is what it is. Yeah. So a couple of different ways that you can get in touch with us. The Golden Moon Casino text line is 601-885-3776. Twitter X at Bo Bounds. And the Michelob Ultra caller line is 601-707-3750. 601-707-3750. Kirby Smart absolutely blew out, and Georgia blew out Alabama over the weekend. And Bama still got in the college football playoff. As y'all know, they'll go to Oklahoma, and they'll play the first game on December 19th. But this is what Kirby Smart had to say about the 9th conference game in the SEC.
Now, because I'm going to take your question and run with it, but I want to give you a hypothetical. Okay, that was the 9th game of our SEC schedule, right? So now just imagine that was the 9th game of the season for everybody in the SEC, and everybody played another SEC game. Now, I'm not saying it was on this week. I'm saying it was on a previous week. So that's 8 more losses, right? 16 teams. It's 8 more losses in our league. So 1 team, 2 teams. Let's say this last weekend it was Oklahoma and Ole Miss or whoever hadn't played yet. They played and they got losses. And then they're going to go to the SEC championship and play another game. Those 2 teams were beat up tonight, and that was the 9th game of the year. And we're looking at next year having another game. I mean, the coaches in our league are concerned about it, very concerned about it, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't speak my piece and say that it's concerning. Because if that game affects Alabama, I don't know if it will or not. I have no say-so in it. I've sat in those shoes many times where that game cost you an opportunity. But hypothetically, every team just played another game in their 9th game. So there's 8 more losses. Who just dropped out? All right, and then there's another game, SEC championship. It's tough. It was physical out there tonight, and they were wounded. We were wounded. I got a lot of respect. Noah Thomas tried to go. He had back spasms. He wasn't able to really go. We were without multiple guys on. I mean, you just beat up.
And so he brings up a good point. Starting next year, you'll play 9 conference games, and then if you make the championship game, that'll be a 10th before you go to the college football playoff. Now, will they merge kind of all that together once we expand? I don't know how that's going to look for,
I mean, that's a lot to ask. 10. I mean, you're playing 10 before you get to the conference championship?
No.
10 included.
Right.
Still.
Right.
Yeah.
How?
And
they were beat up. I mean, Bama and Georgia were beat up, and then Bama got beat up even more. And look, Kalen DeBoer, Bama fans are sitting there going, can you imagine if they lose?
No.
If they go out to Oklahoma and lose, of course they could. That's a very winnable game.
Oh,
just because they lost to Oklahoma, that means nothing a few weeks ago. But we'll try to draw from that and so on. But 2 weeks from now, when they play on December 19th on Friday night, man, they lose again. The fans could get a little restless. Now, he's not going anywhere. He's got a massive contract and all that. But 2026 could be an interesting year for Kalen DeBoer if he loses to Oklahoma.
Big time.
In the first round of the college football playoff.
Ty Simpson did not have a second in that game against Georgia.
Georgia wore him out.
I mean, the O-line just
non-existent.
Not existent, exactly. I mean, there's no running game. There's no pass protection. I mean, he was running and on his back all the time.
Surely we see a different Bama come out, right?
You would think so, but we'll see. I am intrigued with that game.
Oh, yeah.
Just because they're not happy, which is entertaining.
Right.
I mean, look, let's be honest. Nobody feels sorry for Bama, and nobody feels sorry for Notre Dame. Now, 2 different deals going on here. Yeah. Bama is embarrassed in the SEC championship game, right? And then Notre Dame is left out of the college football playoff. Now, should a G5 team be – you're going to get tired of me here. We started this 3 years ago, at least. G5 should not be in this playoff. Give them their own Final Four. Make it awesome. And what's cool for them is whoever wins it wins a national title.
Yep.
That's cool. So Southern Miss or James Madison or Tulane or Coastal Carolina or North Texas or whoever, UNLV. I mean, I know Mullen lost the conference championship game, but if they put themselves in position, I mean, in his first year, he won 10 games, Dan Mullen. But my point is, whatever those 4 are in the G5 Final Four that I just made up, we get a national champion.
Be heat.
I can promise you ESPN's going to cover it because they're still trying to fill. I mean, they have such garbage on every day that when they get live games, college football, NBA, college hoops, you name it, Monday Night Football, I mean, that's what sells. Live content, sports talk radio, live games.
And then you would have some gambling on that thing, I promise.
Sure you would.
Big time.
You got to figure out how to do it, but I don't see why you couldn't. By the way, Dan's playing his bowl game in Jerry's World.
Nice.
So he'll be hanging out with Dak Prescott for several days. You don't think his team will think that's cool? We're live in the Bank Plus studio. All right. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hot garbage.
Leaving Vanderbilt out.
Hot garbage.
Not cool. Not cool at all. We have 2 G5 teams in the college football playoff. Makes zero sense to me. And I don't understand it.
He's like a bad drinking game. It just won't end.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get a bunch of administrators and bureaucrats together that can't figure out the college football playoff. So we have 2 G5 teams. Nobody's interested in that. However, they're in. They need their own Final Four. Hopefully, what is it, the next iteration or the next one is just straight P4 teams, Power 4 teams. People aren't going to be watching James Madison at Oregon. Not for long. I mean, they may sit down for a quarter and then they're going to move on. Usually you'll be at a Christmas get-together right around that time, and people will go to something else. Plus, the NFL is on that day too. Is that right? On December 20th? Interesting. We're live in the Bank Plus studio, Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I want to talk Zach Arnett real quick. So we mentioned Ole Miss, college football playoff. That's huge. Charles Huff takes the Memphis job. Huff did a good job at Southern Miss. You'd love for him to stay one more year, but that's where we are, so you don't blame him. He's trying to better his career and get a better job, and so on. Memphis has a bigger budget. Will Hall was just hired as the head football coach for the Tulane Green Wave. Great opportunity for Will. But let's go back to Arnett. Is it a good hire by Jeff Lebby? Yes. Is it a major, major upgrade? Yes, it is. Has Arnett already done it in the league and had some success? Yes. Am I telling you that he's an elite DC? I'm not selling you that. But he is more than solid, and at times has been pretty good to good, which is a major, major upgrade from what you've been watching the last 2 years. Now, the last 2 years is a combination of coaching and personnel, but a better defensive coordinator, because this is all situational, right? A better defensive coordinator could have meant one more win. And in football, when you don't play that many games, one more win is huge. Now Jeff Lebby gets an opportunity to play in a bowl game because all these teams opted out. Don't apologize for it. Go do it. Go all in. Hell, you're playing a better team than Ole Miss is in the college football playoff. I mean, Wake Forest, So the deal here is, yeah, you went 5-7. Yeah, you were disappointed down the stretch. I get it. Yes, your defense was exposed bad down the stretch, especially Ahmad Hardy going for over 300 yards. That's not going to happen with the Zach. Zach Arnett's not going to get a stop every time. There will be games that get away from him. But the overwhelming majority of the time, you will be competitive. You're going to be physical. You're going to be bringing pressure from all over the field. And he can take a guy like Tyrus Wheat and Aaron Brule. And I've said this over and over. And because I think a lot of people go, well, he needs a Montez Sweat. Well, you're not going to hit on that.
No.
Okay, you're just not. You want to. I hope you do. But take it down a tier to guys who can still run, play, hit, and play multiple positions where you can line them up on all over the field in an Aaron Brule, Tyrus Wheat. Zach Arnett was able to take guys like that and get the most out of them. Good athletes. I mean, Wheat made the NFL. Right. So I'm not talking about like a poor man's SEC. I mean, these guys were legit. They could play. They just weren't first rounders or second rounders, which is fine, or third rounders.
Yeah.
But Zach Arnett can take, and he also understands like an Emmanuel Forbes. Arnett understood the Mississippi kid raw development piece too. I know you don't have as much time this day and age, but it can still be done by Mississippi State, or Ole Miss did it with this defensive line this year. It can still be done. And we've gone overboard that no kid will come to a Power 4 school and even wait 1 year. And they will. Some will. All right. And some will bounce around. It won't ever work out for them. But Zach Arnett is a massive upgrade. Matt Brock is one of the most organized, detail-oriented people that I've been around in the business. He's super intense. He'll be Zach Arnett's right-hand man linebacker coach. Your linebackers were not coached well, and your defense was not coached well the last 2 years, and your D-line wasn't coached well. And it looks like David Turner will retire or take an in-house job, and you'll go get a D-line coach. I don't know what else you're going to do on that side of the ball. We'll see. I think you need to make, if you've listened to this show, you need to make a change at special teams coordinator and at cornerback coach. So, but as far as Arnett, this is a major upgrade. This is a good hire for Jeff. Jeff Levy's had a good couple of weeks. He landed Braylon Womack and another 3 players late in the game that are more than solid. No, they're actually like really good. I don't know what they'll be. We don't know what anybody will be. I've done this for 23 recruiting classes. There have been a lot of busts for Ole Miss and Mississippi State. And, man, they've hit on a bunch of players that we just kind of went, oh, yeah, we signed that guy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Trey Elston and Elton Jenkins. All right. So with Arnett, and by the way, he knows what it looks like. And what I mean by that is he understands. And one of those years, by the way, he was DC. He didn't get to improve his numbers against Wofford and UT Chattanooga and Roast Beef Tech.
Right.
Because they played 10 SEC games in the first year of COVID. And so I do believe that you need to run the numbers a different way on that.
Yeah.
He also was not the bit of, one thing that hurt him was the Moorhead recruiting and who Leach had in charge of recruiting. But Zach took what you gave him and got as much as you could out of it. His last game as a defensive coordinator at Mississippi State, he went to Oxford and they won the game, and he stopped Lane Kiffin in the Ole Miss offense in the 3rd and 4th quarter. So the guy can coach.
Yeah, massive upgrade.
It's a massive upgrade.
One win is a huge deal.
Sure.
Let alone
and if you'd have had a Zach Arnett level DC the last 2 years, you would have probably won 2 to 3 more games out of the 24 that you played, which could be a whole different ball game. But give Levy credit. They did what they need to do, and they've upgraded with Arnett and Matt Brock. I think they need to keep putting lighter fluid on it. Don't stop. Keep the accelerator down. Keep making upgrades. Still think you need an associate head coach around Levy, but we'll see. Also, what's the Pete Golding contract? Can somebody tell me on the text line what it looks like? How's it structured? Is it a full 4-year deal for like $3 million, 3.5, 4, just to see with the low buyout? Is it what does the contract look like? Some people believe that Ole Miss could look for a head coach after the college football playoff. Do you believe that? The Golden Moon Casino text line is 601-885-3776. 601-885-3776. Steve Robertson coming up. I don't think in the next segment. I think we're going to plug him in maybe around 9 a.m. But he may drop in at 8:40. We're going to see, all right? I'll let you know exactly when Steve is going to join the show coming up here in a few minutes. Oh, and we got the audio from Pete Golding?
Yep.
We got even more audio from Pete Golding. man. All right, good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Steve Robertson at 9 a.m. So we'll have some fun this segment. I've got some audio for you from Pete Golding. I do want to see that contract. Tell me what's happening. You're a public university. I know what Ole Miss and Mississippi State do through the foundations. I get it. But also, you still go down to the legislature every year and request a lot of money. And it's my money. And it's Jackson's money. And it's Wes's money. And it's other people that's listening. So we want to see the contract. We want transparency. I mean, I know we need more in politics and public entities and so on. But, and I'm fine either way. I mean, whatever Ole Miss wants to do.
Sure.
But is it a 4-year contract, or are they going to go hire another head coach?
Is anything I mean, could it be anything
Now,
less?
if he rips off a bunch of wins,
Different deal.
this is a totally different deal. If he beats Tulane, then beats Georgia,
Oh, yeah, well.
they're not rolling with anybody else, I don't think.
No.
By then, he's in the semifinals.
Yeah,
All
they're not
right?
doing it.
So Ole Miss will host Tulane on December 20th in Oxford, and they'll play in Vaught-Hemingway. I am happy for my man Patrick Kelly at Finch and Kelly. He was already going to have a good Christmas holidays. I want all our retail partners, to have a great Christmas holiday. But I'm happy for Patrick Kelly at Finch and Kelly and everybody else. They'll do well. It'll be a $1,000,000 weekend, or week, really, not weekend, week, because people are going to start coming in on Wednesday, party, and then go all the way through the weekend. And if Ole Miss wins, which they should, they beat Tulane 45-10 in September. Then they play Georgia in New Orleans, and y'all know that Ole Miss and Georgia played earlier in the year, and that was one hell of a ball game until the fourth quarter. Right. In fact, Ole Miss had several opportunities to pull away, and then Georgia got their act together. I asked this question on this show on the Monday after that game, which was a very compelling, competitive, big play game, Ole Miss at Georgia in Athens. But I asked this question, what in the hell happened during the timeout at the end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter, as far as what Georgia did? But they woke up and they played and they dominated, and they dominated Ole Miss at the line of scrimmage in both sides of the football. Okay? They ran the football, and Ole Miss had no answer in the fourth quarter. They could not move the ball against Georgia's defense after doing a lot of what they wanted to do the first, second, and third quarter. Ole Miss, for the first time since 2019, the last game they played in 2019 was the Egg Bowl and Start Bowl, the P game.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Matt Luke eventually gets fired.
Right.
They hired Lane Kiffin. So for the first time, Ole Miss will run out of the tunnel without Lane Kiffin as their head coach. We're ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We're brought to you by RPT Commercial. Rick's Pro Truck, baby, commercial. RPT Commercial in Pearl. Right over there, diagonal from Miskelly Furniture. RPT, Rick's Pro Truck, RPT Commercial. Commercial fleet vehicles, you know where to take them. RPT and RPT Commercial. Trucks or vans or SUVs or any number of ambulances. They do it all as far as, highway patrol cars. RPT Commercial in Pearl. Rick's Pro Truck. Trucks live here. Trucks live here. What a weekend, man. What? Southern Miss loses their coach.
Yeah. Charles
Huff to Memphis.
State's going to Charlotte.
Mississippi State's going the Mayonnaise Bowl, Duke's Mayo Bowl. If Levy beats Wake Forest, they pour a bunch of Duke's Mayo on him. I may have to, since it's a direct flight, I may have to go to this game just so I can take a picture if Jeff Levy wins the game and they pour since we've done so many segments on mayonnaise and how mayonnaise doesn't travel and should never be part of a catering order, much less in any tent on September 1st in the Southeastern Conference when it's 150 58 degrees. And the last thing I want to smell is mayonnaise.
Dude, he is, man.
I don't even want to smell myself
No.
or anybody else.
No.
That's why I decided I really don't want to get close to people.
Nah.
Okay? But if Jeff Levy wins the Duke Mayo Bowl in Charlotte, North Carolina against Wake Forest on January 2nd, they're going to pour mayonnaise all over him. And we got to get a picture.
Do you think that he opens his mouth and tries to eat the mayonnaise?
Well, he should.
He should. He looks like a bowl of mayonnaise.
All right. We have all that. We have Zach Arnett as a defensive coordinator. And we'll see if Southern Miss promotes Blake Anderson or goes somewhere else. And Will Hall is the new head football coach for the Tulane Green Wave. Officially once John Summerall, once they get beat in Oxford on December 20th. Great opportunity for Will Hall. Great opportunity for Zach Arnett. Some guys, whatever they do, it doesn't. Remember, Pete Carroll's been fired. Bill Belichick's been fired. Remember John Feinstein's book on Mike Krzyzewski? Mike Krzyzewski was within a whisker in his third year at Duke in the ACC tournament. They got beat by 40. They all went to eat that night, and they thought he was getting fired.
Dang.
The athletic director walks in the next morning, slides him a new contract, and the rest is history at Duke. Dabo Swinney thought he was getting fired after his interim run, and then a couple of years in, he couldn't beat South Carolina because Clemson has dominated that rivalry. But Spurrier decided to win like 5 in a row.
Yeah.
And so he thought he was getting fired, and the rest is history. He plays for 4 wins, too. So it's like redemption time.
Oh, yeah.
Chip on their shoulder. Will Hall at Tulane, Zach Arnett at Mississippi State. Now, this is Pete Golding talking about the job and the task at hand for this Ole Miss football program in Oxford, Mississippi.
Even put into words sort of all the different things you've had on your plate?
A lot of lack of sleep. Probably the least amount of sleep I've had since like Vegas in 07 probably. But no, I mean, obviously I think, on Sunday, kind of when that thing hit, you just hit the ground running, man. I mean, I think, for me, it was the players at that point, and all I could think about is, the promises that I made in recruiting and talking to parents and the things that I promised, and the example that I was trying to set and all their hard work to make sure that, we didn't lose that. And so I felt like at that point, it was our responsibility to try to retain as many staff members as we possibly can. From that point forward, it was our responsibility to try to save the class as best we could. Really wasn't concerned from a defensive perspective. But obviously, when you're first called an offensive guys Tuesday at noon, you don't feel real good about it because obviously the retention of the offensive staff as well. So it wasn't really much time to think about it. And then my transition went to the players after signing day. So then we brought them back in Thursday. We had a team meeting and we kind of broke up into groups that we call get real groups and just kind of let them talk and try to get a pulse of the team, try to get how they felt about the situation. And then, I started meeting with them individually on Friday. We got them back, on the grass on Friday, getting them running around, and then gave them the weekend off. And we'll get back and attack it tonight at 6. So I think they're in a really good spot, man. I think it's a player-led team. I think we've got a lot of guys wired the right way that aren't getting caught up in the emotions of everything that occurred, that this is still the 2025 season. We're not talking about 2026 yet. I told them I view myself as an interim head coach right now, and we're not going to reinvent the wheel. This thing was heading the right direction. Right now, I look at it as like.
All right. Did you know he views himself as an interim head coach? Is he? Or does he have a full four-year, full mill deal contract?
Verbiage is key, right?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think?
Why would you use that verbiage and that right there?
Zach Arnett was an interim head coach.
Right.
Okay. Because they hired him, but they dipped their toe in it. Sure. I mean, you either got to go all in or it's not going to work. I'm talking about when he was.
Yeah.
Not right now. This is a good hire as defensive coordinator.
Right.
I hope everybody's following me. I know people are getting in and out of the car, and sometimes people will say I said this, and they only catch a clip of this.
No way.
Zach Arnett is the defensive coordinator, damn good hire by Jeff Levy.
Yes.
But he was an interim head coach. Now, Pete's got more momentum and a better roster. And now a lot of those guys will leave, but and he's got more experience in the SEC as far as timing when both of them took over.
Right.
But still, look, this is a major, 6 years from now, Pete may be great. Okay. But this is a major downgrade.
Yeah, you're stepping back.
Lane Kiffin's top 10, and some people,
top 5,
including on this Golden Moon Casino text line, have made a strong argument that he's top 5. Kirby Smart,
I'm all right with that.
Kurt Signetti, Ryan Day. Then where do you want to go?
Right to Lane Kiffin.
Okay. So, and how about Brent Venables punching his ticket,
boss man,
to the college football playoff when this sports talk radio host said it will never work.
Yeah.
But at least it's worked for a year. And they did it with a quarterback that
hobbled.
Really, once he got into league play, couldn't really complete a forward pass.
Wasn't he leading the Heisman for a long time?
He was the first 3 weeks or 4 weeks. They played a cream puff,
Has
Po'
there ever
Boy
been one?
State. Yeah, an Ole Miss schedule.
Yeah.
That's what they pulled early.
Has there ever been a Heisman take it wire to wire? No way, right?
What do you mean a Heisman
the first Heisman voting comes out and they're leading it and they just stay.
Well, Heisman voting doesn't come out, but I guess what you're talking about is, do we have a
betting
leader
favorites
from week 1?
Yeah.
Lamar. The one that I think of is when Lamar smoked Florida State, I think it was.
Yeah.
In week 1. It may have been week 2. Lamar was able to carry the torch pretty much start to finish.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I have that right, but that was a long time ago. So, yeah,
Cam?
to answer your question, no, Cam didn't come out of the gate as a leader in the Heisman. People knew who he was, but he's coming in from Blinn.
Yeah.
And they had some close games. They were not really, he was dominant, but they were not necessarily dominant as a unit.
Gotcha.
On the offensive side of the football. He had no pro wide receivers. He had
yeah.
Michael Dyer,
yeah.
who was a really good player. And then they it was just like a power spread. Gus Malzahn, Cam and Dyer will get us through. And that opened up the passing game because people were like, damn, we got to play. We got to put damn near 8 people in the box to stop Big Cam and Big Dyer.
Right.
And then that would open up some things for what I would call a very mediocre wide receiver unit. Anyway, back to
Might be one.
What now?
There's one.
Tim Tebow?
No.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Was it Tebow's junior year?
No, it wasn't Tebow.
Okay.
Eric Crouch.
Nebraska
QB?
He was the favorite entering the year and went on to win it.
Was that 95 or 96 or 97? 01. Okay.
Forget he was there in 01.
All right. Rebel Greg says he has heard that Pete Golding is getting a little over $5 million a year. Okay. I don't know. We haven't confirmed that.
Yeah, where's
hearing
that come
that, you could have heard that at the library or, the bar.
Right.
Or
the library.
You could have heard it, with your guys hanging out. or it might be 100% accurate, but I don't know that. I'd like for somebody to send me a link
Yeah.
of Pete Golding's contract.
Where Rebel Greg get that number from? I got to know.
Probably the Ole Miss or whatever they're called.
I got to know.
The
board.
On 3 or 247 Sports.
Rebel Greg, tell me.
Steve Robertson will join us at 9 a.m. today. Zach Arnett is your new defensive coordinator, and Mississippi State is going to a bowl game.
That's crazy.
I didn't think I was going to be saying either one of those.
That's absurd. But good for them. And go all in.
Good for Zach.
Yeah, well, good for
he and his family loved Starkville. Hate it didn't work out on the interim thing, but he was up against, a bad deal. Yeah. Basically, they sent him into, a nuclear war with a knife. So I'm talking about like a dull butter knife.
Yeah.
So Zach's going to be real massive chip on his shoulder. That's what you want in life. People that are motivated and talented, that have a chip on their shoulder, that believe that they should be in a better spot than they are. Mm-hmm. I don't mean people that use it in a negative way
Right.
or don't ever get where they want to go. This guy has the stuff and the goods, and that defense will be light years better. And I understand. I know they were bottom of the barrel. I get that they finished 115th in defensive scoring efficiency, and that Jackson and I could have done better than that. But
Wow.
if you just finish in the top 75, that
For the win.
you would have won multiple games the last couple of years, even with that schedule, because we didn't realize how watered down. We knew it was watered down. We just didn't know to what extent the league was watered down.
No.
But Kamario Taylor, though, is going to get an additional 15 more practices,
Right.
which is huge.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's coming in to a great.
And you hope that he runs for 100 and something yards on Wake Forest and give it to Fluff and Booth, and you win a game. And people, this fan base has impressed me the last couple of years, how they've shown up, alums and students, considering everything they've been through. They haven't won a home conference game in 3 seasons since Leach was there. Leach beat Arkansas, A&M, Auburn, and somebody else his last year at home. And so you'd like to go January 2nd, play Wake Forest, which is actually a P4 team, and then have mayonnaise dumped on Levy.
Yeah, I mean, he needs it.
That'd be fun.
I agree.
I mean, the fan base would rally around that,
I'm with that.
right? All right. What are we doing here? The Michelob Ultra caller line is 601-707-3750. Somebody's calling for the John Calipari audio. Okay, we'll drop that at some point. It's good. Also, I got a text on Josh Hubbard. I saw that he got injured. I was watching the game with some friends of mine yesterday. I hope it's not serious. I mean, it happened in the first 2 minutes. He'd already hit a 3, so there's no telling what he would have done. He had already hit a 3 in the first 2 minutes of the game, and then that ankle. I don't know the extent of the injury. If you've listened to this show, my son and Josh went to MRA together from first grade on. So I don't have to be biased because he's a phenomenal player.
Right.
But I think the young man's outstanding. I hate it. I hope it's something that he can be back in a couple of weeks. I don't know. But I did watch the game against San Francisco. Look, he's a kid. He's a young man that's already proven from day one that he can drop 25, 30, 35 points.
Yeah.
I mean, he and Dalton Connect, he as a true freshman went head-to-head with Dalton Connect and didn't even check up. He's a phenomenal basketball player. It is rare that we get players out of this state that are ready to go day one. And I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know the extent of the injury. But I'm a big Josh Hubbard fan. This is a team that's already struggling. They look very pedestrian around him anyway. I think they could have cobbled together some stuff around him. But without him, even though they did make a run and pull within a bucket several times late, but San Francisco did what they needed to do yesterday in Tupelo, you have to have him. You were already probably looking at just a meh season, but and I think you're going to have to go with a different approach in the portal, and that's just go get 3 players instead of going and getting or spreading money out to 7 or 8 players.
Right.
You just got to go get 2 to 3 players around Josh, and then just pay guys that can be like Sean Jones level. I mean, you can find those guys anywhere, and I wasn't as good as Sean Jones, obviously, and I would give my left thumb to be, but that's the way I look at it. Or McGee, those type players. You don't need to be dropping tons of money on guys. You just need to go get 2 or 3 and pay Josh and the 2 or 3 all $1.5 million to $2 million a piece, and then you got your team. Then you just fill in.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the way it is. I did see that Ole Miss played St. John's. I do follow Rick Pitino.
Ricky P.
Y'all know that I do follow Rick Pitino. Looking at that game, it came down to the physicality part of St. John's, just fouling your you-know-what off. and eventually, they made Ole Miss uncomfortable forever, and then Ole Miss turned it around in the second half. It didn't surprise me the way that the Red Storm and St. John's played. No. Neither team shot it well, and at the end of the day, they got out ahead so much that it was too much for Ole Miss to overcome. Right. So there's my y'all been wanting a college basketball update.
There you go.
Ole Miss and Mississippi State the last 2 weeks, and that's it.
Well, that's solid.
Josh Hubbard, you're hoping that it's a minor injury and he can come back sooner than later. And Rick Pitino is one of the greatest coaches in the history of college basketball, and he knows how to dictate a game even as good as Beard is.
Crazy.
Did I hit everything?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that, and we're still salty about Vanderbilt, but yeah.
I am Diego Pavia, baby.
Fleeced. Conned right out of it.
Here's the deal. James Madison and Tulane should not be in the college football playoff, and Notre Dame and Vanderbilt should be.
Yep. Hey, it's really that simple. I don't know why. I just don't understand why they missed.
Or Notre Dame and BYU. But I would rather have Vanderbilt.
Who wrote them rules?
Vanderbilt played in the Southeastern Conference and went 10-2.
Yeah. That's it. That's all. That's the argument. That's all it should be. Vanderbilt James Madison line. What does that look like? I mean, Vanderbilt's favored by 21. It may not be that high, but like 16, 17.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. James Madison at Oregon is not getting anybody hot and bothered.
No, there we go.
And that's why we were right from the jump. The G5 should have their own Final Four and playoffs. I don't know why we're doing this. People won't come back. They want Vanderbilt playing Oregon or Notre Dame playing Ole Miss or vice versa.
Yeah.
That's what they want. And I give all the credit to James Madison and Tulane for having great seasons.
But I mean,
the good hell.
Did the numbers?
And those aren't marquee games.
No. And do the numbers not indicate
now
such?
Miami and A&M, I can get down with.
Well, that's a big. Yeah, I like that.
Bama and Oklahoma, I can get down with.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some juice, baby.
Yeah.
Love that. That's people getting in front of the TV and getting locked in.
Right.
Bama at Oklahoma, I'm in. That could be snowing in Norman, Oklahoma. All right. And Miami and A&M, I'm in on that.
Yeah.
Mario Cristobal against Mike Elko.
Man.
Yeah.
Elko might chew him up with the football.
You damn right he might. Of course, Cristobal pumps iron every day.
Don't.
So you got one guy who's like super fit and all buffed. All right. And a face man, huge arms. And then you got Elko, who's got, I mean, he just looks like a dirty East Texas defensive lineman.
Man is ready to
eat. Or offensive guard.
Eat a football in a heartbeat.
Who walked on at UTEP and then started 36 games.
Yeah.
2 knee surgeries and everything else. Or 7. Steve Robertson coming up next on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line.
Say, kids, what time is it? It's 9 a.m. and this ain't no kiddie show. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. All aboard! As Mississippi's #1 morning show rolls on the Zone 105.9 and online at thezone1059.com.
All right, good morning. Welcome in to the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone is driven by your next GMC Sierra truck or GMC Yukon at Fowler GMC. Pearl Brandon. Hit their website right now if you are looking for a truck or SUV, pre-owned or new. FowlerGMC.com. FOWLER. FowlerGMC.com. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. You can watch the show right now on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. And you know the show is brought to you by Pearl River Resort and the Golden Moon Casino. We welcome in Steve Robertson. JeansPage.com, 247 Sports. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Steve, Jeff Lebby makes a hire at the defensive coordinator position. Zach Arnett is the new DC. I think it's a damn good hire. He's also bringing in Matt Brock. What was your initial reaction when you heard about the hire?
Well, leading up to the hire, it's one of the things you start talking to people and you hear that this is a possibility. And immediately I was shocked. I was like, really? And not for the wrong reasons, but I just thought, hey, this is a guy that, was the interim coach for a year and things didn't go well, and he kind of lost favor with a lot of Mississippi State people. But there's no denying the fact that Zach Arnett was a very good defensive coordinator at Mississippi State, and that's why so many people supported the hire. So it's not like Zach Arnett is a stranger to Mississippi State, but I think there's a segment of fans out there that are kind of maybe painting him in an unfair light just based on 2023 when he was kind of thrust into a very difficult circumstance before he was ready. But I think it's a very good hire. I think at Mississippi State, you have to be a little bit different. And if you go back and look at what Mississippi State did with Arnett calling the defensive plays, they were very different. They did get after the quarterback. And I went back and watched a couple of games yesterday. And I think the thing that jumped off the page to me after the last 2 years of the Coleman Hutzler experience is it was just absolute chaos for the offense when Zach Arnett was a play caller because they're coming every play. You just never know who's coming, when they're coming, where they're coming from. And I think Jeff Lebby needs somebody like that to take autonomy of this defense.
All right. So Arnett, is he coaching in the bowl game? In the Duke Mayo bowl game against Wake Forest, will Zach Arnett coach the defense?
I'm sure he'll be involved. I don't think he'll be the play caller. We'll get some, clarity on this because, you got 3 weeks, right? I mean, it's like Zach doesn't know this defense, this personnel group, and they don't know his scheme. So I'm sure he'll be involved. With game planning and things of that nature and probably running some practices. But, I don't think you're going to see Zach Arnett run his brand of defense in the bowl game, against Wake Forest. Again, I am sure that he'll be involved because it's a chance for him to do some evaluations and things like that. But, he got here yesterday. I mean, so it's not like he's just going to sit around and watch Netflix for the next month.
Right. All right. So I give this I'm going to give it a B+, Steve. I mean, I think it is a really, considering where Lebby is, everybody knows he needs to win in 2026. I'm sure there were feelers put out to Muschamp and Jeff Collins and, Brent Pry decided to stay at Virginia Tech, and that's fine. But I think all things considered, this is a damn good hire. Do you?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do, and I think you frame it up pretty well too. Jeff Lebby had went to back-to-back bowl games and won 7-8 games. I think the pool of candidates is probably different. And one of the things I think is important for people to understand, and this is always really the challenge when you target former head coaches. Those guys have already made their money,
right?
And so they're not the quote ascending coach. They may be a great coach, but they're not just going to pack up and leave for another job, without the family being completely on board.
Right. Okay. Matt Brock's one of the most detail-oriented, organized people I have ever been around. And that is a valuable asset working under Zach Arnett. You agree?
Oh, I do. And I think it's interesting, that they became so close. And then, of course, when Arnett was elevated to be the interim head coach, Matt Brock called the plays in the ReliaQuest Bowl and then took over. And the 2023 season was so bad offensively, people forget it was a really good defense. And that 2023 defense was good. I can't remember if it was top 40. I know it was top 50. And middle of the SEC that year. In a year when you couldn't get first downs. So the defense was on the field a lot, but it was a good defense. And I think if you're Mississippi State fans, like, you'd love to be an elite defense like you were in 2018. But if you could field the 2023 defense or anything comparable to that in 2026, you're probably going to win 7 or 8 games.
Yeah, with Camario?
That's how it works. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right. You may be guarded here. I hope you're not. Are you expecting any more? I think there need to be. Look, I think all of a sudden Levy's got some momentum. And they got this thing cooking, okay? And he got a gift, and he deserved, with the schedule that he got, I don't think Mississippi State should apologize for going to a bowl game. Go, embrace it, leverage it, get everything you can out of it, 15 practices, maybe helps you retain players. Camario gets 15 more with Levy, all that. But I think they need to continue to upgrade. Do you believe that there will be more changes on the staff, Steve?
Yeah, I do, and I will be a little bit guarded about that. Not many, but I think a lot of that's just kind of getting Arnett in the building. There's some things at play, obviously, but I think you framed it up pretty well. I mean, from a roster retention standpoint, this is probably a very good thing. So you don't have guys at home for 3 weeks, having people in their ear, get in the portal. Now you're up here. You're with Camario, you're with your dudes for 15 practices, you're taking a trip together, and it is a gift. And you're right, you should never apologize for it. I mean, the rules are the rules, right? I mean, and so you begin to think about what this could mean for Mississippi State. You go out there, you win a ball game, you're able to showcase some of your returning talent, give you some juice heading into the offseason, into the portal season. I think all that's very, very important. Whereas you want to remain on the ladder of awareness. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like in the eyes of recruits, anytime that you can put yourself out there and have them evaluate you in a positive light, you want to do that. But and these people we should turn down the bowl game. They're idiots.
No.
I mean, because if nothing else, even if you didn't play the game, I mean, the fact that you get 15 more practices to work with these guys and work with your team, that stuff's invaluable. But of course, if they're going to keep score, I want to win.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you want to see the mayonnaise dumped on Levy because that means you won, right?
I don't really care about seeing the mayonnaise dumped on him. I just want to win the ball game, and I'm sure Jeff would be happy to have that, mayonnaise shower or whatever. But all
right, if they win and Levy doesn't want it, since you're going to be there, will you volunteer to take the mayonnaise shower?
No, we're not doing that.
Okay.
No, we're not.
All right.
We're not doing that. Yeah, I can't imagine trying to get mayonnaise out of my dreads. So.
Oh, yeah. I got you. Okay. Steve Robertson on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. What do I have, a minute? We want to hold you over for another segment. Can you walk us through the Josh Hubbard injury in 30 seconds?
I really don't know a lot about it. Jacob Bain was there covering for us, and he said that Hub was still limping very noticeably at the end of that ball game. And so the fact they're letting him walk around tells me it's probably not too significant, but it's obviously something that we're concerned about. I mean, very difficult season so far, and that's the last thing you need is your star to get banged up.
All right. Can you hang on for one more segment?
Sure.
All right. Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. Brought to you by Mississippi's College Town. Direct flights from Dallas and Atlanta every day. FlyStartable.org. FlyStartable.org. When you land, you're 12 minutes from campus. All right, good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds show. Our coverage today of college football is brought to you by Eye Care Professionals, Dr. Kirk Jeffries, and the team at Eye Care Professionals, from a routine eye exam, which is important, to LASIK surgery, cataract surgery. Eye Care Professionals, Dr. Kirk Jeffries, 2 locations on Lakeland Drive. Eye Care Professionals. Call them today. Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. He joins us on 105.9 The Zone ESPN, brought to you by Two Brothers and Older Brother Bistro in the Cotton District at Mississippi State. They now have, in Starkville, they now have a new defensive coordinator in Zach Arnett. And finally, the football gods kind of shined down on them for the first time in a while. And teams opted out of bowl games, so Mississippi State will get to take their players to Charlotte, North Carolina for 4 or 5 nights and possibly catch an NBA game or NFL game. They'll get 15 more practices. There's some great steakhouses in Charlotte, and they get to play in an NFL stadium. Steve, I didn't ask the right follow-up question. It sounds to me like you believe that Zach Arnett will have his fingers on some of this stuff over the next few weeks as far as the defense, but he will not call plays. Who do you think will call plays in the bowl game?
Yeah, that's kind of what we got to figure out. Maybe it's Matt. Matt's done it before. And Matt knows the scheme. I just don't know at this point. Well, hopefully we're trying to get some clarity on that today. We're not sure when Labby's going to speak. There's nothing scheduled at this point. But sooner rather than later, I'm sure once we get into a bowl practice schedule, we'll probably get that today. Because I can tell you, yesterday is I'm starting to hear some things kind of bubble up out there. I'm reaching out to some people, and I had people reaching out to me. Are we going to a bowl game? Yeah, looks like it, guys. And so I think in some respects this was an unexpected gift, and so they're kind of having to shift on the fly here.
Okay, good. So that's fun for the group. All right. What else do we have to cover here? When do bowl practices start? Probably in the next, Steve? 4, they'll try to knock out X amount before Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, they won't. I don't know what the schedule is for the Mayo's Bowl. Like, there have been some bowl games in the past where you just, show up the day before the game. But there's some other ones, where they want you out there for a handful of days because they've got to do their – they got to bring you to the zoo and all these other events, and you got to go meet their donors. So I'm not exactly sure how that works with the Mayo's Bowl. We were there in 2015 when it was still called the Belk Bowl with Dak's final performance at Mississippi State. And so we're just kind of learning all this because yesterday morning when I woke up, I didn't expect that we'd be making plans for another football game. And somebody hit me up and said, hey, Mississippi State is like 5th in line for a bowl game, and there's going to probably be 2 that are available. And I was like, well, how does that help me? He goes, well, look at the schools that are ahead of you. You got a couple that had coaching changes, and they probably just want to go ahead and get into portal recruiting. So I reached out to a couple people, and they said, hey, yeah, we're probably not going to take a bowl game. And then all of a sudden it just starts playing out, and the next thing you know, there's all this optimism that, hey, Mississippi State's going to get in. And so I text Zach Selman, and I'm like, hey, in the event that the opportunity is extended, do you plan to accept? Well, yes. Well, then at that point, it becomes a story, right? And then it became a story, and so here you are. But, yeah, yesterday morning when everybody woke up, it felt like a remote possibility, and here we are, booking a flight. So,
how were I've got some text on the Golden Moon Casino text line on the Mississippi High School Football Championships in Starkville. I know you were there all weekend. There were some signees or potential recruits, both, in the game. Do you want to kind of walk us through the Mississippi State piece of that over the weekend, Steve?
Yeah, sure. And I wasn't there Thursday. I actually had a book signing down in your neck of the woods.
Okay.
But I was there Friday and Saturday. And the first thing I want to say is what a great event. Like, and every year that I go and cover these things, it's just, I'm always so impressed with the great job the MHSA does. I mean, it's just, it feels like a big time thing when you go. And And these young people deserve it, especially after this crazy year that we've had, in the state of Mississippi. And some people are thinking about, maybe we don't need to have high school football for a while. We had some tragedy around the state. And I thought this weekend was a real celebration of the sport and of our state. And obviously, one of the greatest programs in the history of mankind, the Columbia High School Wildcats, win another state championship. I'm a proud alum of Columbia High School, so I wanted to get that out there first. Shout out to Wildcats, Cats for life. But on the Mississippi State piece, if you were a Bulldog fan and you didn't watch that Tupelo Gulfport game, you owe it to yourself. You think about it, excited about a bowl game, getting excited about your Bulldog future, watching Cooper Crosby and Jaden Hill in those games, absolutely crazy. And a classic ending. The Hail Mary gets caught, and Gulfport basically walks it off. But I tell you, the one guy that I thought did more to help his recruitment is 2027 Nash Morgan from Warren Central. First time I'd seen him play in person, absolutely incredible. He willed that team to a blowout win of Hattiesburg. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting him to play as good as he has. I've already had three different colleges reach out to me to ask more about him since that ball game. It's incredible.
All right, the Morgan crew out of Vicksburg. Legendary football family, right, Steve? And three of them play. Well, did the dad play at Mississippi State too? Is it four, Steve?
I'd have to go. I've just known Coach Morgan's name.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like never. Yeah, I haven't done the research on it, but that family is legendary in the state of Mississippi, and now all of a sudden, Josh has got him one, and I'm sure Brett's going to stack up some too. I'd want a Morgan on my team.
Hell yeah! Good grief! Rob and Josh have done a great job. That thing was DOA when they took over at Warren Central. And then Brett going to an absolute powerhouse in West Point. So, all right. So that was exciting over the weekend. I saw the walk-off. I bet you haven't been to many games that ended like that, have you?
Not in high school. Yeah. That's what's so crazy about the way these things work out sometimes is you had 14 very deserving teams. You know what I'm saying? Nobody embarrassed themselves. You had 7 really good games. And listen, everybody's like, well, was it boring watching a 6-0 game? No, it was exciting because every play mattered. And, Columbia scores, Trey Lewis scores with like 14 seconds to go. And it's like those kids from Kosciuszko were so absolutely jacked just trying to make a stop there. And it's just we play a better brand of football in Mississippi than we did 20 years ago. And I thought that was evident this weekend in Starkville.
Good. I like to hear that. Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds show. It was a big weekend for Starkville and the university as they hosted the MHSAA state championships. As Steve mentioned, Gulfport in their first state championship walks it off against the defending champs, Tupelo. And what was that? Were you on the sideline then or up in the press box, Steve?
No, I wasn't on the sidelines. As a matter of, it's what's so nuts about all that stuff is like I left at the half and then come home and watch it, and I'm thinking, why did I leave this? But what's incredible to me is like to see the enthusiasm from those young people.
Sure.
But like the cheerleaders, the band, everybody's all in, and it's just a celebration of goodness, man.
No doubt. Steve, we appreciate your time today. Thanks, man.
See ya.
GenesPage.com, 247 Sports. Zach Arnett's the new new defensive coordinator. Oh, goodness. He is the new defensive coordinator in Starkville. It's a good hire for Jeff Levy. It looks like we'll have Michael Katz coming up next. Ole Miss Insider. Ole Miss hosts Tulane December 20th, college football playoff game.
We have a saying around our place, we eat off the floor. And if you're willing to eat off the floor, you can be special.
Oh, well, I know I'm special. Live in the Bank Plus studio. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. And we're brought to you by Total Transportation of Mississippi. Total Transportation of Mississippi, offering regional and nationwide routes. Apply today to this great company, TotalMS.com, TotalMS.com. And weekly pay, great benefits, Total Transportation of Mississippi, TotalMS.com. We welcome in Michael Katz, DJournal.com, Ole Miss Insider. Rebs will host the Tulane Green Wave in Oxford for the second time this year. They won 45-10 in their first matchup in September. And Michael Katz, good morning. Do you expect this to be another blowout, Ole Miss and Tulane?
It's hard to see it going that way. I was kind of surprised it went that way the first time. I mean, I thought Ole Miss was going to win that first one. I'd be lying if I said I expected it to be with 35 or whatever it was. I just think it's hard to do that to a team twice. I mean, obviously the personnel is going to be the same, but you know, I think Ole Miss is probably in a pretty good spot. But I don't know if I'd necessarily expect a beatdown quite like that.
All right, it doesn't have. It's a huge deal. It'll be a monster three days before and after the game. But it doesn't have as much sizzle since they did play in Ole Miss, won 45-10. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I know a few weeks ago in the process there was the prospect of what if Notre Dame gets to come here, or whatever it ended up being, which I think was probably that obviously would have been really cool too. And yeah, we have seen this one before, but I think that just given everything that's happened the last few weeks with this program, it didn't really matter who they played. You know what I mean? Like, it was just
fair enough.
Having the playoff game, given really just the theatrics and everything that's happened. Really, I mean, it started. Well, and it wasn't just a couple weeks ago. I mean, this has been going on for a couple months now. Just now that it's over, and now Ole Miss has its new head coach, and I think it's partially a sigh of relief, and partly just this team did an incredible thing this year. I think people here are really excited to celebrate it and actually focus on the football itself rather than all the other stuff that we've had to talk about for so much of this year.
I agree with that. Michael Katz on the Out of Bounds Show. All right, when a coach wins in the SEC, especially at a really high level, the fan base becomes obsessed with that coach, either 100% of the time or 99% of the time. And Ole Miss fans not only loved Lane, but they were obsessed with him. Now, Lane takes the LSU job, and you and I have talked about it a couple times last month. You joined us live in Oxford a month ago. Even with the way it played out, and the way that, it's all about Lane, and it's always been all about Lane, but the way it played out, are you surprised at the way the fan base has turned on him?
Honestly, not really, mainly because of the way it happened. I think if it had been, maybe a more subtle thing, or, maybe not as much social media activity and all this sort of other stuff that has came with that whole process. I think it always would have been tough when he's going to LSU. That's always going to be a tough pill to swallow. But I think just the way that it went down, and the family going out to Gainesville and to Baton Rouge, I'm sure that was really tough. I talked to Keith Carter about that. That was, it was too obvious for it not to be intentional at that point. I just think there were just so many little things in the process that, I think it kind of got to the end of it where it was becoming, fairly likely that he was going to leave. And I think it was sort of like, okay, let's just get this over with. Let's move on, and then let's focus on, Ole Miss football rather than the guy leading Ole Miss football. And I think it's just, listen, there's no there's no denying what Lane did here. I mean, listen, I've said it. There's 11 10-win seasons all time at Ole Miss, and 4 of them have come in the last 5 years under Lane. I mean, it's remarkable the job that he's done here. And again, this team is not 11-1 without him, doing the things that he did.
Right.
But at the same time, I just think that the constant kind of theatrics of it, and it's not just this year. This is something that I feel like we kind of dealt with every year. What's he going to do? Is he going to commit? Is what's going through his head? What's he thinking? I think it kind of got to a point, especially this time, and obviously now that it actually happened, that was just okay. Like let's just move on. I think maybe time heals all wounds. I don't know. I don't know if these wounds are ever going to be completely healed, especially if he does win big at LSU. I think that's going to be tough. But I do think maybe there will come to a point where I think fans can step back and be like, wow, like, listen, we don't have to be happy that he left, but
right.
I think we can respect what he did.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. When you talked to Keith Carter, what was the number one quote or thing that he said that jumped out at you, Katz?
I very much appreciated Keith for talking. It's been a crazy, as crazy it was for, us on the outside of this media spectrum. I cannot imagine what it was like inside the walls of Ole Miss athletics having to go through that. So I was very appreciative of that. I think that probably the thing that really stuck out to me, and I think it's big largely because of what Lane said. In his statement that, he thought till the end that, there was a chance he'd, get to coach the team in the playoffs, and he was really fighting for that. And, talking to Keith, like, that was just never going to happen. That was a non-starter. Like, if you're the coach at LSU, it's time for you to go, was basically what Keith said. And I just thought that was, listen, was this the best case scenario? No, of course you would have loved to have kept Lane here forever and kept that thing going. But I think you have to give Keith a lot of credit for being steadfast and not giving in. Because like you said, like if he's the head coach at LSU, but he's still leading Ole Miss, this is a month-long infomercial for LSU.
Oh,
and that's just
no question. No doubt. And Lane would have eaten it up, man. I mean, he's already been
100%, and then he has a chance to recruit players even more, and
sure.
All these sorts of things. So, I give Keith and Chancellor Boyce a lot of credit for not giving in on that regard, because I think that I don't know if every administration would have stood up to him and done that. They probably would have just been like, all right, fine, man, just do it, and then you can leave. But I think that was bold, and I think it was the right move. And then the other thing that really stood out to me, and again, it kind of goes back to his statement, was when he said, players were begging Keith to let him coach in the playoffs, and Keith was very subtle about it, but he basically said, not all of this. I'm not sure that would be totally accurate. And, that's it's subtle. It's with grace, but I think it goes back to I'm sure that room was probably frustrated and wanted to move on, and I think we saw the video of when Pete Golding was announced as the head coach. They were ecstatic, and I think it was just, hey, like let's focus on the rest of this year, and we'll worry about 2026 when we get to it. But this team has a chance to do something really special, and it's time to actually start focusing on the football. So, I think those were for me those were the two biggest takeaways from Keith.
Did you ever in a million years think that you would cover something like this the last 4 to 6 weeks, however long it's been?
Actually, what? I will add something. That was actually one of the most interesting things, because I asked Keith, I was like, were you able to, do a real, like, quote unquote coaching search? And he was like, well, if we're being honest, we started doing a quote unquote coaching search when Florida fired Billy Napier. Like, that's when you have to start doing those sorts of things. Because the second that happened, it's like, oh boy, here we go. And then, of course, the next week, LSU fires Brian Kelly, and then the wheels really got turning. So I think in like from our perspective, this looks like a really short time frame, but I think for them, I mean, this has been a 6-week thing where, obviously you're trying to keep the guy, but you got to look around and try to figure out what your other options are. And, ultimately, for the current situation in the future, it ultimately ended up being Pete. But I thought that was really interesting as well, that, hey, like this wasn't just oh man, like we just found out Lane's leaving, it's time to scramble. Like this is these jobs came open that he's been linked to for several years. Maybe we should start to do a little due diligence.
Michael Katz, djournal.com, on the Out of Bounds show. Is it already different without him there because of him winning, his personality, his social media, the whole deal?
Well, we had our first, Zoom or press conference yesterday. After the playoff teams get announced, the coaches have to do a little Zoom and whatnot, and it just felt really different. They are just two drastically different personalities. Pete is, I hate using the cliche term football guy, but like he is the most football guy of football guys. Yeah. Like he is just like he's the epitome of spot the ball. Like he is just,
that's so good, really Kat. Yes, he is.
And he's he'll say what's on his mind. He'll swear a little bit here and there. He's just he's all ball, and I think that especially right now is probably really refreshing for players and whatnot. And for us, obviously, this is my 5th year covering Ole Miss. You sort of get used to how press conferences are going to go or what you can expect answer wise. And yesterday we got 20 minutes, and we probably would have gone 45 if he hadn't been cut off. Like, he's just a guy who wants to talk ball. He wants to talk about this team. He made it very clear he doesn't do yoga. He made it very clear that he's not going to be on social media very much. He's just
took a shot at pickleball. I mean, he was on a roll. Kat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he killed it, man. He's just it's a different personality. It's very outgoing. And again, this is a guy who, he was asked, why did he cancel his introductory press conference? Because obviously we were supposed to have one sometime last week. I don't remember when it was specifically. And then he canceled me and said, because this isn't about me. I'm the new head coach, but this is about the players. This isn't supposed to be about me. And, it's that was different because so much of, these last few weeks, months, whatever you want to call it, has been about one guy, and the constant news cycle. It's very different, and it's from my perspective, it's nice to we love the quotes. I mean, give me all Pete Golding quotes. I could write a whole story just from his transcript. I mean, it's just gold. But to get a different perspective is it's kind of cool, and especially this time of year where, again, this is a team that feels like it has a chance to win a national championship. It's nice to get a perspective like Pete's about what's really going on here. Lane obviously he had some zingers. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of it was very. You knew the things he was going to answer and the things he wasn't going to answer. It was pretty clear when you went into it what was going to happen. And with Pete, nothing's really off limits, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, he's football hunting and fishing. I mean, he's a dip in the mouth, barbecue sandwich, and a cold beer. Michael Katz, djournal.com, on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Have you been able to see any of Pete Golding's new contract?
No, I have. I filed the request. I haven't gotten it back yet. I think I've still got another week before they need to officially get something to me. But I put it in the second it happens, so I'm working on it.
Okay. Do you believe it's a 4-year deal?
I think, yeah. I mean, I think that's probably. I think the official one will be 4 years, and then usually they can add a couple years through the Athletic Foundation. I think is usually how it goes, but. The state can only do 4-year contract.
Right.
I can tell you it's not going to be $13 million. I feel pretty safe saying that. I could be wrong. But that feels like a safe bet.
Do you believe that you just mentioned national championship, and this is a damn good football team, but the bottom line is Kiffin's either a top 5 or top 10 head coach, and he's not there anymore. That does make a difference. Do you believe that this is a team that can run the table and win it all?
I don't know. I think that, obviously the first matchup is I think all things considered a good
layup.
one.
Yeah.
They would play Georgia next, and they should have won that game. Back then. Listen, I think that this is a weird year of college football where it's hard to really find like that team that is so much better than everybody else. I mean, Indiana is great. Don't get me wrong. Ohio State looked pretty mortal the other day. I don't really know what to make of some of these other teams. Georgia's not perfect. Again, they're playing really well right now, but they're hardly perfect. So I think that's going to give them a chance. I will say, and I thought this was interesting that Pete said yesterday too, is that, obviously Lane's not there anymore, and that does change, the way they're perceived and whatnot. But, you're kind of at the point in the season where it doesn't really matter who the head coach is because you've already sort of established everything that you're going to do, and you have all your coordinators, and you have a way that you've already been doing things. Like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel right now. If you need to reestablish things in the off season, you do that, but you worry about that when you need to get there. So, I don't know if this team necessarily has a better or worse chance than it did with Lane there. I think the team kind of is what it is, and it's a really good team. It's a team that has defied my expectations all year.
No doubt.
Just in terms, with everything they lost and all that. Really a remarkable job by everybody involved and the players too. But I don't know that they are significantly different with Lane or without Lane at this point. If this was week 1, I think it's a different conversation. But we're so far into this thing that I think this team kind of knows what it is. And they know what works, they know what doesn't. And, I think especially with, all the distractions that there were and the way they handled that. I cannot give them enough credit for handling business the way they did amid all of this chaos. Now that the chaos is over, it's probably pretty nice. And you've got a different guy in charge, and, maybe that's a galvanizing thing. I guess all that to say is I don't know how much of a difference it makes at this time of year. And Pete kind of brought that up, hey, I'm not going to try to change anything. He said, I'm looking at myself as an interim right now. We are going to do what got us here. He would be, he would be foolish to change things drastically. We are in, we're several months into this thing. Let's just do what we've done. And if you want to change it in the off season, you do that. But for right now, just keep doing it the way it's been done.
All right. Michael Katz, he's ready for Ole Miss to host a college football playoff game against Tulane, December 20th. Triple header that day. Ole Miss is the sandwich game. And mid-afternoon, Vaught Hemingway, and the place will be wild a couple nights leading up and a couple nights afterwards. Michael Katz, you're the best, buddy. Let's do it again soon, okay?
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you.
DJournal.com. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. Katz was on ESPN 105.9 The Zone talking about Lane Kiffin and Pete Golding. Lunch today is brought to you by the Chicken Fried Chicken, which is fabulous, at Burgers Blues Barbecue, Dogwood, Flowwood. Burgers Blues Barbecue. We call it B3. Dogwood, Flowwood, beautiful restaurant. It's got a full bar too. Outside area, the whole thing, TVs everywhere. Chicken Fried Chicken is the blue plate at Burgers Blues Barbecue, Dogwood, Flowwood. They're open for lunch and dinner in Dogwood, Flowwood. And whether it's sandwiches, smash burgers, some of the best pulled pork and ribs that you'll have in the area, all at B3, Burgers Blues Barbecue, Dogwood, Flowwood. What's your takeaway from that? So, Ole Miss loses the biggest personality in college football.
Yeah.
Active coach.
Right.
You can say Saban is still the biggest guy. He's got a huge platform everybody's watching him on game day. But as far as active coaches, he's an even bigger personality than Kirby. Now it's close. Kirby is he's good. He has his thoughts on where the game is today and where it needs to go. And Kirby will give you an opinion in a day and age where coaches are boring as hell. So Kirby and Lane are both fascinating personalities that you want to get the snippets and the drops and so on from. But Ole Miss loses their biggest personality and now is handing it off to Pete Golding, who is a phenomenal defensive coordinator. But I have said this even before this went down. So this is not just for Ole Miss. It's Mississippi State, Auburn, A&M, Wyoming Tech. Sitting in the other chair, even though you have a lot of responsibilities, Pete Golding running the defense, compared to sitting in the big chair, I have been doing this for 23 years. I have met a million head coaches. I've hung out with them, not just to hang out, just to see how they're wired. God knows how many OCs and DCs I've hung out with. There is a big, massive gap between being an OC or a DC and a head coach. That's the way it is. And so this is set up for Pete to get a win right out of the gate. Like nobody, I mean, Pete Golding and Keith Carter could not have asked for the season to be finished the way it is and some other things play out to host a Tulane team that you beat by 35 points in September. So that you've got a great opportunity in Pete's first game where you're going to be at least a 3-touchdown favorite. 16.5 points I saw earlier. I think that could go up. But to get that win, dub. I mean, Zach Arnett got his first win, and they went through even more hell because that was on December 9th or 10th when Leach passed away, almost 2 weeks removed from the battle for the Golden Egg that Leach and Arnett had won. And he had to get ready to go down to South Florida. Now, the Outback Bowl is not a college football playoff game, but they actually played a Power 5 team in Illinois who plays in the Big Ten. And Arnett, with not near as good a staff as Pete has, won the game. Because Leach's staff was weak. Leach was just so damn good. Something to think about, right? All right. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. And it's brought to you by Southern Ag Credit, financing life outside the city limits. SouthernAgCredit.com, right there in Ridgeland, Mississippi. Call them today. We were talking about the Mississippi Delta and all the great hunting land and farms and so on. SouthernAgCredit.com, financing life outside the city limits. See you tomorrow.